Fact or fiction? Do you know the truth? When you watch that show on TV, have you ever seen that show, Fact or Fiction? And they try to prove one thing or another, and they show you all these different things. They either, you know, say it's true or not true. But in reality, do we really know what is fact and what is fiction in our lives? Knowing, if you're a student of this teaching, we know that we are one with this universe, and we know that we create our own environment. But how do we do that? How do we create our own world? Well, I looked up fact or fiction, and I'm not going to read it from there because I can't see it. So I'm going to read it from here. And I didn't bring my glasses up. That's okay. So I looked up in Webster's, good old Webster's dictionary, about fact or fiction, and I think we all kind of get the definition of it, right? A fact is something demonstrated to exist or known to have existed. A real occurrence, an event. In science, when an experiment is done over and over and over and over and over and over and gets the same result. They say, okay, this is a fact. It works. Kind of like principle. Fiction is an imaginative creation or a pretense that does not represent actuality but has been invented. The act of inventing such a creation or a pretense or a lie. Okay? So, fact or fiction, what's going on in our lives? And where do our thoughts come from? That's my new granddaughter, by the way. Yes! That's Stella Eileen. Isn't she beautiful? Yes. Ah, I'm so excited about her. Thanks. All the grandparents in the audience know what I'm talking about. It's so wonderful. But anyway, where do our thoughts come from? And they form from a lifetime of our, what? BS, our belief system. Now, when we come into the world, we look like this, don't we? Well, some of us do. But when we come into the world, we're innocent. We're just an open book. We are a blank slate, just ready to be written on or painted on by everyone and everything around us. And we are very innocent. We're pure. Now, some people think, okay, we've been reincarnated and we come back with the experiences of what we've had before, but we're looking at this picture, my God, look at that. That is pure bliss, beauty. There's nothing there but total and complete love. All right, so your thoughts come from your belief system, which tells your brain what to think. Well, I can understand that. Each belief is like a brick in a building that represents your entire belief system, good or bad, negative or positive, empowering or holding you back. So you come out pure and innocent and beautiful, and then all of a sudden you start to have experiences around you. Right? You get these experiences? First experience about your parents. I don't know which ones you had, but I kind of had the ones on my left. Your right, or my right, your left, whatever. Backwards. I'm a child of the 50s and the 60s. How many are in here? Okay, the rest of you probably can't relate to most of this talk. That's okay. But I was raised in the 50s and 60s, and what did we have in the 50s and 60s? Nothing. Well, that's perception. That's the best part of perception. Okay, but your parents were a really big influence on you, weren't they? They could either be, you know, like Ozzie and Harriet, or like some of the other shows that we used to watch, or they could be totally psycho. Who knows? We came into this environment, and we got the parents that, well, some people think we chose for the experience that we have here. So it's up to you whether you want to believe that or not. It could be fact or fiction. Okay? What about siblings? Okay? You come into a family, maybe that siblings are already there, or they come after you, one way or the other. You could have a very good relationship with your sibling, you know, be partners and do all the wonderful things together, or you could be at odds with your sibling. You could have fun, or you could have fights. I grew up in a household with one sister. She was 2.5 years older than I am. Hello, Mare. And I love my sister dearly, but for most of our lives when we were growing up, there was a lot of rivalry between us. There were a lot of things going on, a lot of dynamics we didn't understand. All we knew was our perception of what was going on around us. So we became what we thought we needed to be in that household. She became a caregiver. I became a social butterfly for all different kinds of reasons. And neither one of us really realized why we were the way we were until we got older and after my mother passed away. We finally sat down and says, you know, I really hate your guts. I really don't like you. And she'd look at me and go, well, why not? And I'd start telling her all the perceptions and things that I had when I was growing up from her, you know, from my mother or whatever experiences I had in that household. And she looked at me and she said, you're totally crazy. You're out of your mind. That's not the way it was at all. And then she told me what her perceptions were, how she felt growing up in that household. And when we started comparing notes, they were just totally different, totally opposite of one another. So who's right? What's the fact and what's the fiction? It's our perception of what goes on. Okay, what about clergy? I don't know, I was raised Catholic. Yes. My mother was raised Catholic, and because of that, thank you God, I didn't have to go to Catholic school. But I had to go to catechism class, which was, you know, basically the same thing. Only a few days a week, and then on Saturdays sometimes. But I was taught the Catholic way. And I never believed the Catholic way. I was always the one that was in trouble. I was in the corner with the, you know, with the little dunce hat on, or whatever you want to call it, facing the corner on a little stool, because I dared to question, because it didn't make sense to me. I grew up in a neighborhood which was eclectic. I had a Protestant friend, a Catholic friend, a Jewish friend, a Methodist friend, and when the Catholic Church would tell me, well, everybody is going to hell but us, I said, I want to go to hell because my friends are going to be there. I don't want to go to heaven alone. So I questioned when I heard things like that because it did not make sense to me, and I always got in trouble for it. I always got told, not you again. The nun would see me come into class and go, oh, crap. So clergy had a really big influence on our lives. I don't know how you were raised, but think about it. Think about what concepts you got out of your past beliefs or your religious background, the clergy in your life. Who was the most important factor? We had Father Champlain, older man, white hair, very strict. And of course, that's what I saw because I was still a little girl. And he was very unapproachable. He was sainthood. You know, you touch his robe and you disappear. But he was a very strict person, in my opinion, in my perception. So when he said something, it carried a lot of weight. And I've said this before. He used to tell me, you know, I'm not bad enough for hell, but I'm not good enough for heaven, so I'm going to spend my eternity in purgatory. Eternity in purgatory. What the hell is eternity in purgatory? It means that you just sit there and go, what? I don't know. What's nothing? You're in nothingness? I never understood that. But I made him angry. Okay. Hello. There we go. What about your teachers? What kind of teachers did you have when you were growing up? Did you have some favorite teachers that really taught you and you really got a lot out of it and you loved them? And then you had some teachers like that one with a ruler ready to spank or whatever. Because in my day you could do that. You know, you could wrap your knuckles with a ruler. You could, you know, swat kids. You know, so those are the types of things. And then you had some really, really good teachers that really listened to you and taught you. And those are the things that you learned. But again, what about a teacher? What kind of teachers did you have? And what do you remember about those teachers? Do you remember the one that, well, you probably do. You remember the one that really gave you a lot and supported you and made you feel good and you learned a lot from them, right? But you also remember the ones that criticized, put you down, humiliated you in the front of the classroom for asking a question, right? Remember both of them. No, okay. How about friends? You grew up with friends. I didn't grow up with them, but I would have liked to. They were a lot of fun. But what about your friends when you were growing up? What did they think? What did they believe? What was their experience of life? When you went into a friend's home, I can remember when I was a young girl, and I'd go into one of my friends' homes, and we'd have dinner, and it would be something totally different than I'd ever had before in my life. And I think, oh God, these people are weird. And they come to my house and say the same thing. Oh God, these people are weird. Different culture, different ideas, different beliefs. But were we weird or were they weird? Because our friends influenced us in so many ways. And they helped us to create, all of these people helped us to create our belief system, or the BS now going on in our lives. What about outside influences? Okay, scientists have stated that our conscious mind, how they discovered this, I don't know. I mean, they've got to have machines on somebody, but is it only one person that's having these ideas or what? But let's listen to it anyway. 16 bits of information every second. Our conscious mind can be aware of 16 bits of information every second. But our subconscious mind receives 11 million bits of information every second. I don't know who comes up with this. I certainly would not want to be hooked to a machine that tells them that. But that's what scientists say. So, all right, so outside influence. If we are getting however many hits or bits of information, especially in this digital age, you watch television, you're on the internet, you have these tablets, right? You have phones. How much information is really going into your system? How much information is going into your subconscious mind, especially? How much information are you really aware of? 16 bits every second out of millions and millions of hits. I don't know if you want to find out how well you're doing on this. Go to a movie and watch the credits. I don't know about you, but I can't read them anymore. They're gone. And then the next credit comes up, they're gone. It's like, what? If I was part of that movie, I'd be very upset because they'd never read my name. They'd never even see it. But the kids today can see it because they're part of the digital age. Their brain wave is different. They're seeing things differently than we did. So that's where all this information is coming in. It's an outside influence. Fact or fiction? How about television? Now, I grew up again in the 50s and 60s, and I love animals. So what shows did I watch? Mr. No, Fury and Flicka, Sky King, Lone Ranger, Hopalong Cassidy if you're that old. All of the shows, the Tonto and the Lone Ranger, and then I'd watch the family shows. How about Leave It to Beaver and Lassie? Father Knows Best, the Donna Reed show. Now, what I loved about the Donna Reed show, because she was such a beautiful, fantastic image for the mind of a child and how a household should run. She used to clean in a shirtwaist. One of those dresses? She'd clean in a dress with a little thing, a little bandana on her head and pearls. I've recently watched some of these reruns, and it's like, oh my God. No wonder we had such a weird impression or an idea, a perception of what a family should look like, and no wonder our family never measured up. Father Knows Best always had the right answer. Do you realize that? The Cleavers always had the right answer. They'd come home and mom or dad would know exactly what to say to them and how to do it. Would they not? Now, there's shows like that today. Of course, you have some shows that go the opposite direction, like The Simpsons, that just totally annihilate the parent. Okay? But what are we watching? What are the kids watching today? It's totally a sphere of their influence. It's creating things in their mind and ideas and perceptions in their mind as to how things should be. What about commercials? Now, this is my era, or a little before my era. You women are going, yeah, right. You men are going, yeah, right. I found a book. I was going through some of my books the other day, and I found a book. And it says the proper behavior for a married woman from about, I think it was 1937. And the proper behavior, you want to hear this? The proper behavior, I was reading through this and I was laughing so hard. The proper behavior for a married woman is to wait on your husband, is to know when he comes home he's had a very hard day at supporting you, and that you are to give him your total support and love. You should have his slippers waiting for him. And if he smokes a pipe, you should have a pipe ready. You should have a snack for him when he gets home. Something, a little libation or a drink. I know you're all laughing, but this is what they believed, okay? The man of the house. Right.
That's how I treat my husband.
There you go. But look at that perception they had. Look at what they were told to believe. Until what happened? Huh? Right. Women had to go to work. War came along. Women started in factories. And when they started in factories, they realized that they could work. They could bring in a living. They could support themselves and support their families. And by doing that, they started a new revolution. We can work. We are worthy. And it's taken a long time for women to come to that perception or that belief. What about outside images? How does this affect your self-esteem? The picture on this side is untouched. It's the natural. I mean, she's a beautiful woman anyway. But that's what she looks like without makeup and without airbrushing. Take a look at her with airbrushing and makeup. Same person. Same thing with the other one. That's without makeup, without airbrushing. And look at her in a magazine or a print ad or the television ad. We try to look like this. How many women think that this is what we should look like? Subconsciously, at least. Oh, Randy, okay, thank you. You think women should look like that? I got you. Okay. But see, that's the problem. We think women should look like that, and men think women should look like that. Is that realistic? No. So what are we doing? We're killing ourselves to look like that, which is not the truth. Is that fact or fiction? Fiction. That's fiction. But we take it as fact, don't we? Because we keep getting subliminal messages. We keep getting ideas and information fed to us by the ads we watch, the television programs that we watch, by the different things that we come in contact with on a daily basis, telling us that we're not enough unless we use, what was it, Prel in my day, shampoo, or Colgate for the whitest teeth, or whatever it is. You're not enough because you don't use those products. Or if you use those products, then you are. But you still don't feel it because you look in the mirror. And you don't look like that. But you use those products. Right? All right, when you were a kid, we know now where our belief system is coming from and how we feel about ourselves. So when we were a kid, what kind of a kid were you? Did you want to be a doctor? Did you have all these ideas and you played doctor? And I mean just as a kid. Let's keep it clean, people. But you played doctor, you know, and you knew that in your heart that's exactly what you want to do. How about a veterinarian? You wanted to play with animals. You wanted to be an animal doctor. You loved animals. You wanted to do something with them. You were popular. You had a lot of friends. You were the life of the party. You did everything. You were always included. You always went to those birthday parties. I remember a friend of mine, or three of us in high school, or well, yeah, I think junior high or high school. I don't remember exactly when. And they called us the Three Musketeers because we were always together. And we weren't always on the popular list. And I can remember going, you know, there was one party, I don't know who was having it, but the popular people were having it. And we decided to get together and have our own party. And one of my friend's father came in and says, the wallflowers again. You're getting together just because the other ones are getting together. And I thought to myself, gee, you know, we're not good enough to be part of their party. Subconsciously. Certainly don't have that awareness consciously, right? Were you the one that was always alone? Into nature, into the feeling, into intuition, into whatever it was that was carrying you along. Maybe you were the thinker. Maybe you were bullied. I don't want to hear raise hands, but was anybody in here bullied? Made to feel less than? Picked on? Where did all this come from? Where does all this happen? And what did you believe about yourself? What did you bring from that realm of BS, that belief system that you were making? What did you believe about yourself? This looked better what I had doing on the computer. Okay, we are energy. Our thought is energetic and holds within it power. We as creators have the power to direct this energy. Cause and effect would be how things manifest outwardly in our lives. It is a direct result of how we manage that energy. The cause is our focused thought or our reoccurring habits of our thinking, feeling, acting, and which create effects and outcomes in our lives. If you look at quantum physics, or you read a lot of different articles or information, we've heard that everything is energy. We are energy, the earth is energy, everything around us is energy. And there's a little story. There was a school of fish, and they were out just being fish one day, and this one fish got the bright idea. He'd heard something on the radio, and the radio said, there is wisdom in water. There's intelligence in water. So he told the rest of these fish, hey, I'm going to go look and I'm going to go find water. Because there's wisdom and intelligence in water, and I want that wisdom and intelligence, so I'm going to go find water. So he went off, doing his own little thing, trying to find water. And he came back years later, dying and depleted, and he had never found water. He told his friends, there's no such thing as water. It's not there. I could not find it. What's water? They're swimming in it. What's energy? We're swimming in it. What's intelligence? We're swimming in it. It's everything in and through us. It's in and through every thought, feeling, and action that we have. So with the energy that we are, by our thoughts and our belief system, creating those thoughts, okay, first is your belief system, which we've created through experiences we've had since the time we were born. And then are the thoughts that come out from that belief system, and then the energy behind it are our emotions. And that, here we go, scientists again, I apologize. But scientists say that we have 60,000 thoughts per day, and that 95% of our thoughts are the same ones that we had yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that, ad infinitum. And that 90% of these thoughts are from our subconscious mind. So again, you have your belief system. You've created what you believe, what you really feel about yourself or with the world around you, whether it's scary or pleasant or whatever it is, whether it's got lack or limitation or abundance and bounty. So we've created all of these things. We've created all of these belief systems. And because of that, it's all in our subconscious mind, creating our life today. Can we understand that? You're all very quiet. I hope you're not sleeping out there. So now we have the ability to look at what we're creating in our life. In order for their energy to manifest matter, and what we're doing, every thought we have has the ability to manifest. But what the difference is between manifest thought and just thought is the emotion behind it. What emotion do you have during the day? Are you a happy person? Do you go into work and you're really excited? I get to work today. I get to work today. I get to work today. Yay. Or do you get out of bed and go, oh, crap, another day? How do you feel about it? What do you think of? How do you look at life? Are you depressed? You just do not want to do anything. 90% of our thoughts are subconscious. We create our experiences and we track into our lives what we believe from these belief systems, from these thoughts, from these ideas. Okay, if we are energy and we're putting out energy and we're in a field of energy, anything that we think with emotion gets thrown out into this field of energy and brings anything back on that playing field into our experience. So if I totally and completely believe that I'm ugly, I'm unworthy, that I look in the mirror and go, oh, my God, look at that. And I go to work that day and somebody gives me a very bad, he said, oh God, you look like hell today. Thanks, I felt like that. I really needed you to tell me more. Or the next person comes up to you and they hand you a stack of stuff and it makes you feel that you can't handle it. How does your day go? So let's switch it around. You feel really good about yourself. You feel really great about your day, so you go in and you get a compliment as soon as you walk in the door. I love that blouse on you. Wow, where did you get that? Anybody experience that? If you're in a good mood, if you feel good about yourself, somebody gives you a compliment, you're attracting that into your life because that's what you're believing. Are you happy? Are you sad? How about illness? Oh, this is a biggie. This is another talk all by itself. Anybody, don't raise your hands. Are you sick? Do you have things going on in your life? Do you have one thing after another? You get one thing cleared up and then all of a sudden it starts somewhere else. There's something else that comes up. And you get that taken care of and something else comes up. And then you get that taken care of and something else comes up. What is it telling you? The dis-ease or the illness is the effect of thinking. It's an effect. And if you get down to cause, and we'll go through that later, if you get into cause, you can find out where that's coming from and then create something new in your life. We don't want to take responsibility. I'd rather blame Rob. Rob, it's your fault. Anything that's going on in my life, I'd rather blame you because you're a practitioner and you can just clean it up. I know that. Right?
Thank you, Reverend.
I'd rather blame somebody else or other situation or some other condition than myself. Because it's a lot easier to fix them than it is to fix me. Right? If that person would only change. Right? How many times have you said that? Oh gosh, you look at your husband and say, God, I wish he wouldn't do that anymore. If he'd only change, I'd be fine. Right? Or a coworker, or your job, whatever it is. You look at it and say, ah, that's why I'm this way. It's because I go into work and people are negative and nasty to me all day. Guess what? That's what you're creating. Because that's how you feel about yourself and your job. Okay, life is a mirror which reflects back to you or back to the thinker what he thinks into it. I love that picture. I think it's so great. I found one and it didn't quite come out as well as this one. It was like a tabby cat looking into a mirror off of a sofa and a mountain lion was looking back at it. I thought it was really cool, but it didn't come out really good. So this is really a great picture. How do you look at yourself in the mirror? What reflects back to you? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see the wrinkles? Mm-hmm. I see a lot of heads going like this, right? Do you see a bad hair day? Guys, you probably don't even care, right? You get a haircut and that's it. It looks fine. You don't worry about it anymore. Some of them anyway.
Or a hat.
Or a hat. There you go. But what do you see when you look in the mirror? What's looking back at you? What do you say? What's your self-talk? What do you say? It's all that belief stuff from all of those people in your life coming back at you to say something negative or something positive. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's up to you what you choose. So what's coming back at you when you look at the mirror? Do you see the tiger in here? Do you go out in the world just ready to go? Or do you see the little mouse scurrying through the hole, afraid the cat's going to get it? Up to you. It's your perception. Buddha puts it this way. What you think, you become. What you think, you become. What you think, you become. Wow. Take a look at your life right now. Close your eyes. And just take a second, take an instant, and take a picture of your life. Take a snapshot of what your life looks like. Do you have it? Now open your eyes. What does that look like to you? Is it filled with energy and love and excitement? Or is it kind of ho-hum? What does your life look like? Because that snapshot is exactly what your subconscious mind looks like. That snapshot is exactly what you're telling yourself and what you're drawing into your life. So what do you think? What do you think of most of the day? How many people are aware of their thoughts during the day? Anybody? Maybe one or two thoughts? Or maybe when you set the alarm or the phone rings, you remember what you were thinking? How many times have you passed the off-ramp that you're going to get off of because your mind was somewhere else? I've done it. And I had to go down to the next one and turn around and come back. How many times are we in autopilot? Remember when you first started driving a car? It's a very good example. And when you first got into the car, you were so observant and so scared because you had this big machine that you were going to be operating. And you were aware of everything you did. You looked in the rear view mirrors. You looked in the side mirrors. You made sure the seat was in the right position. You made sure that the rear view mirror was exactly right, that you could see what you were going to see, right? You had all these things that you were doing. And then you started the car. And one by one, you started to drive. And then you got more confident. You got more used to driving, right? You don't have to worry about it anymore. You've been doing it for years. How many really think about what you do when you get into a car anymore? Or is it automatic? Do you think about adjusting the mirror? No, you just do it. Do you think about putting the seatbelt on? No, you just do it. Don't you? Do you think about starting the car and what the car is doing in order to move forward? No, you just do it. Right? It's subconscious now. That's the way most of your life is subconscious. How can you tell if you're having a thought that is probably a negative thought that isn't good for you? Your emotions. Your emotions are a really, really good example, a good way to trigger and target and be aware of what you're thinking and what's going on in your life. How many times are you angry during the day? How many times are you judgmental? Do you judge the people around you? Oh, those jerks at work. Geez, I wish they'd get their act together. How many times do you say that? How many times do you look at a person and think something very negative or derogatory about them? Don't they know they shouldn't wear that color? My God, they should get their colors done. Instantaneous, almost below the level in your subconscious mind. Yet what does it do? It affects you as to what you think, feel, what you do, what you create in this world. It affects you and then everything around you because you are that energy that projects out and creates back. The key to improving your life is changing your thoughts, period. Okay? But since they are not under your direct control, you must start with changing your beliefs first. You need to replace what's there with something else, something new and better that can propel your life forward, not back. Good old Ernest Holmes. Love that man. Thank you, Ernest. You need to change your beliefs. Well, how do we change our beliefs? You can't have a single thought, perception, or feeling without your body's response. So by the time you have a response, by the time that anger comes in, or that frustration comes in, or that judgment comes in, you've already had the thought. But the emotion is what can trigger you to say, aha, there's something off here. There's something I need to look at. Because I guarantee you it has nothing to do with any other person. It's only you. You and you alone. You're the only one that thinks your thoughts. You're the only one that's had your experiences and created your belief system. No one else has. There's a story about a merchant. And he goes to market. and he's got product that he's loading on his camel. And as he's looking at this product, he's thinking, you know, this product isn't very good. And he's loading his camel, and he's loading his camel. And as he walks in through the marketplace, and he's walking by all these other merchants, and he's looking at their merchandise, and he's going, oh my God, I don't have anything as nice as that. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so beautiful. I have nothing. My things are not like that at all. I'm not going to sell anything today. But he sets up his booth anyway. And sure enough, guess what happens? He doesn't sell anything, right? He proved to himself, which we do all the time, he proved to himself that that was fact, that he had bad merchandise, right? So he goes home and unloads that night, and his wife asks him, so how much money did we make? How did you do at the market? He says, we didn't sell anything because we don't have good product. We don't have what everybody else has. She thought about that. She went to that wise one that we all have within us, that intelligence, that wisdom of the universe, and slept on it. And the next week, when her husband went to load the camel, she started talking to him, and she said, oh, I made all new items, which they're the same items they had before. But I made you all new items, and I know they're better than the ones in the marketplace. Look how shiny this is. Look how beautiful this is. Isn't this gorgeous? And it was made with love. And the love will come through with everything that we do. And we're going to make a lot of money at that marketplace because people are going to see the love we put in it. They're going to feel us. It's going to be better than anybody else there. And sure enough, when he walked through the marketplace with his camel, his loaded camel, he was looking at other vendors and other merchants, and he was saying, you're right. We have better merchandise. We have better things. We're going to sell out today. And guess what? He sold out. Now, we do that all the time. That's just a story. It's a story and an example. We do it constantly in our lives. How many times do we look at ourselves as less than? And we put that over our day. And therefore, we experience things that tell us that we are less than. And we say, see, I told you so. Right? Change it. How do we change that thought? How do we change that feeling? When a feeling comes up, be aware of it. Say, oops, something's wrong here. Something within me believes a statement that's not true, that came from someone in my lifetime, somewhere along the road, and got trapped in my belief system somewhere. That's not the truth about me. So awareness is the key. If that emotion comes up, stop. Take a deep breath and say, okay, this is me. It has nothing to do with the person that I'm talking to. It has nothing to do with any buttons that somebody pushed. They didn't install them, you did. So therefore you can put a piece of, there's a cartoon of, what's his, I think his name was Biggie. And he's reaching up and there's a button, all way up, he can't quite reach, and it says panic button. That means don't panic, just take a deep breath and think about what it is that's going on in your life. Everybody can take a deep breath. Everyone can stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Do it now. And just let it go. That raises your vibration and brings into your consciousness something new and gives you an opportunity to see it for what it really is. Who it came from? Okay, one technique we can use, how do we change our belief system? How do we do this? One technique you can use is visualization. And when you leave today, I have a little chart. It's from Napoleon Hill. And it's a little exercise you can do on visualizing. And what he started doing, he had a council of members as he was going to bed or going to sleep at night. He used to visualize a council of people. And people he really wanted to bring in his life. Like Abraham Lincoln was one of them. And maybe his mother was another one. It's all in the story. But he used to start visualizing as he was going to sleep tonight, this whole council of people. Knowing that the people, if he had something going on in his life or he needed an answer to something, someone on that council had the answer. Every night he would go and he'd ask a question. And when he got up in the morning, he'd have the answer. Or maybe a day later. Or maybe something would come into his vision or his perception, and that would have the answer. So I've got that for you when you leave. Okay. This is fun. I was just falling asleep last night. just, you know how you're just on the edge of, you feel yourself just kind of just sliding right over and it feels so good, and you're just kind of going right into that nice little peaceful sleep. And all of a sudden, this word comes into my mind, jam. And I thought, what the heck is this? And of course, it woke me up. And I kept lying there going, what the heck am I coming up with jam for? What does jam mean? I'm not hungry. And I started thinking about it. And I thought, okay, how can I, because before I went to bed, I said, how can I end this talk? Okay, and God came up with jam. So jam, all right. How can we change our belief system? How can we program new things into our mind? That J word, I know everybody's groaning already. Journaling. And it doesn't have to be something huge. I know Oprah was so big on a gratitude journal. And there's some people say, you write down the 10 things that you're grateful for that day. Well, God, by the time you get to 5, you're going, oh crap, what am I grateful for? Oh, gee, I just don't know anymore. Write down one thing you're grateful at the end of the day. And if you don't have anything, do this. You're breathing. You're moving. You're talking. You're feeling. You've got your 5 sensories going. Start there. Start somewhere. A is for awareness and affirmation. Once you become, okay, now journaling is kind of like primes the pump. What happens when we journal? We write down our feelings. We write down what's going on in our life. We write down some of the things that are on our minds. And that primes the pump. I know some of you are probably too young to understand or realize priming the pump. But we used to be at a cabin, and they had one of these old pumps in the backyard. And my dad would say, go out and prime the pump. Okay, what the heck is prime the pump? You have to get the air out and prime the pump and keep pumping and pumping and pumping until the water finally comes up. Journaling is like priming the pump. You allow yourself to have all of these things inside of you, this belief system that's hidden, these unknown perceptions, and they start coming to the surface so you can be aware of them. And once you're aware of them, you can create a positive affirmation. You can create a positive thought, not negating that thought, but creating a new one. Brand new thought, brand new belief system. But guess what? You can't just do it once. I did it last night. Oh, my life's going to change today. Right? You have to keep doing it over and over and over again. And the other one, meditation. Again, it does not have to be huge. It can be 5 minutes. The very easy meditation is squaring your breath. Breathe in for a count of whatever that's comfortable for you. Hold it for that count. Breathe out for that count, whatever's comfortable for you, and then hold it for that count. It's called squaring your breath. Once you start squaring your breath and you start thinking about your breath, you're not thinking of all that other stuff going on, and it clears your mind and opens you up to this beautiful, infinite intelligence in the universe. Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. And the little girl, I love her, she says, the fundamental job of a toddler is to rule the universe. What's your fundamental job? What are you thinking? What are you creating in your life? What are you doing with your life? Is there something that you don't want in your life? Change it. How do I change it? Start doing your daily due diligence. Ah, crap. Don't want to do that. Well, then your life's going to be exactly the same. You're going to keep having those thoughts over and over, and you're going to keep creating the same thing over and over and over and over. You got it yet? And over and over. Change your life. Become an active, phenomenal being that you have come here to be. Live your life to its fullest. Stop playing small. I love you and namaste.